Good day, doctor. Good day, everyone. Today, we are excited to present on the topic of navigating climate change responsibility, philosophical foundations, ethical roles, and intercultural perspectives. In this presentation, we aim to explore how philosophical ideas, ethical considerations, and intercultural approaches can guide our collective and individual response to climate change. And our group members are 习玉从、魏书宇、吴宇纯、谢泽天、熊新元、温天宇、吴琼、王静浩. Okay, let's begin our discussion. The first part is introduction. Let's start by understanding climate change and why it matters to all of us. Climate change means big changes in the Earth's temperature and weather patterns over time. Most of these changes are caused by human activities like burning oil and gas for energy, which started during the Industrial Revolution. This has made the Earth hotter, raised sea levels, and caused many natural changes we see today. These changes have serious effects on both nature and people. For example, stronger storms and floods are damaging homes and cities. Many people and plants are disappearing because they can't survive the changing environment. Industries like farming, fishing, and forestry are facing big challenges. At the same time, there are social problems, like more health risks from pollution, fewer natural resources like clean water, and growing unfairness between rich and poor communities. But this is hope. Countries can work together to cut carbon pollution, the main causes of climate change, switching to clean energy like solar and wind power, and making plans to adapt to these changes are important steps. Global cooperation and focusing on sustainable growth will help us build a better future for everyone. This gives us a clear starting point to think about the deeper issue, like how our values, beliefs, and different cultural wills can guide us in taking responsibility for climate change. Let's start the second part.
Ethical responsibility involves the duties individuals, corporations, and governments owe to others in the world, focusing on justice, fairness, and the consequences of actions. Care ethics, which emphasizing empathy and relationships, has become increasingly relevant in addressing climate change by stressing the need to protect vulnerable populations and future generations. For individuals, Kantian ethics highlights the duty to respect the environment, while utilitarianism encourages actions that minimize harm, such as reducing carbon footprints. Care ethics urges individuals to act out of empathy for those most affected by environment degradation. Corporations, as influential actors, are ethically responsible for adopting sustainable practice. Stakeholder theory agrees that business must consider their impact on the environment, while utilitarianism advocates for reducing harm through green technologies. Care ethics adds that corporations should support communities affected by climate change. Governments hold the greatest responsibility in addressing climate change. Rawls' distributive justice theory suggests they must protect the most vulnerable, while utilitarianism promotes politics like carbon tax to benefit society. Care ethics calls on governments to ensure the sustainable future for all, especially future generations. In summary, ethical responsibility for climate change spans individuals, corporations, and governments, requiring collective action grounded in justice, empathy, and sustainability.
I want to talk about individual responsibility in addressing climate change. Climate change is a serious challenge that affects our environment, economy, and society. Every action we take in our daily lives, no matter how small, has an impact on the planet. From an ethical perspective, we can look at it in these three ways. First, deontology reminds us to act out of duty and respect for nature. Second, utilitarianism encourages us to make decisions that benefit society as a whole. And third, virtual ethics inspire us to build good habits, like being responsible and respecting nature. So, what we can do? Simple action make a difference. Walking instead of driving, recycling, and saving energy at home. Remember, individual actions matter. Together, we can create a better future for our planet. Individual actions matter, but they aren't enough. Recycling, saving energy, and making eco-friendly choices help. But big change needs corporate and government action. Companies have power to reshape industries, and governments can create laws that tackle issues like climate change and poverty. Without them, progress will be too slow. So let's help doing our part, but also push leaders and the business to act. Together, we can create real change. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges we face today, and corporations play a key role in addressing it. Studies show that around 100 companies, including major oil and gas firms like Saudi Aramco, Shell, and ExxonMobil, are responsible for more than 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions. To combat this, business must take action. First, they should reduce emissions by adopting renewable energy, improving efficiency, and investing in cleaner technologies. For instance, ExxonMobil is exploring hydrogen energy and carbon capture technologies to reach net zero emission. Second, corporations should drive green innovations such as electric vehicles and low-carbon technologies, which benefit both society and the planet. Finally, business must promote climate justice by supporting vulnerable communities, particularly in developing countries, through funding and technology transfer. For example, Shell partners with organizations like United Nations to assist communities in Africa and Asia in building resilience to climate challenges. In conclusion, corporations have a responsibility to act by reducing emissions, innovating, and supporting global equity. They can help create a sustainable future for everyone. Thank you.
Now let's put our focus on the ethical responsibility of governments in addressing climate change. Firstly, John Rawls emphasizes protecting the most vulnerable from climate impact. Governments must ensure fairness in combating climate change by prioritizing the most affected by environment crises. Secondly, governments play an important role in promoting well-being by exercising politics that reduce emission and transportation to renewable energy sources. By setting carbon tax standards and offering monetary incentives, they can encourage the use of sustainable practice across industries and among citizens. Lastly, governments must secure sustainability while protecting the environment. This ensures that we provide a livable planet for future generations. Climate change isn't just a political decision, it's an ethical obligation. Now let's focus on renewable energy initiative. Renewable energy is critical in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Governments can take several ways to promote its adoption. For instance, Malaysia, with its geographical advantages, can get solar, wind, and other sustainable sources. Investing in those areas is important for the country's transition to renewable energy. Governments can provide money for solar energy adoption and offer tax relief for renewable energy users to make green energy more effort for both companies and households. In addition, supporting green technology and innovation will create opportunities for local industries to advance in renewable energy development. For example, Malaysia should invest in electrical vehicles by providing incentives for EV manufacturing and encouraging the public to shift to electrical cars. We can reduce emissions from road transportation. These actions will position Malaysia as a leader in renewable energy while combating climate change successfully. Lastly, let's talk about raising public awareness and population. To begin, governments should combine climate change education into school activity. Schools can organize activities like drawing competition with themes such as Earth is crying. This will help in raising awareness among students, but also encouraging creative solutions for climate change. For the general public, governments can work with advancing companies to create interesting videos. This video, when shared on social media platforms, can promote energy-saving habits and encourage emissions reductions. Additionally, governments can promote public awareness programs and use social media to encourage citizens. In conclusion, this step can lead to sustainable future for all. Thank you.
Next part is intercultural comparative perspective. For an intercultural comparative perspective, I will divide it in 5 parts. Asian countries have balanced economic development with climate action, collective responsibility, and national development. Western countries focus on individual responsibility and global cooperation, emphasize technological innovation and market-based policies. Middle Eastern countries' energy exploiter dilemma balance policy for dependence with climate action. African countries will focus on climate justice and several. 6 support from development. 6 support for developed nations for climate adaptation. Indigenous culture emphasizes harmony with nature and long-term environmental governance. All of them focus on climate issues. Next slide, I will summary of intercultural perspectives. And the next part is summary of intercultural perspectives. Cultural differences. Developed countries focus on current action, avoiding compensation for past emissions. Developing countries stress historical responsibility and balancing development with environmental protection. Global cooperation address economic, historical, and cultural differences for a sustainable future.
Climate change is not just a scientific or economic challenge, it's a moral and ethnic issue that impacts all of the humanities. To tackle it effectively, we need to rely on key philosophical principles that guide our actions and decisions. First, let's talk about justice. Climate change disproportionately affects the most vulnerable communities, those who contributed less to the global emission but suffer the worst consequences, like rising sea levels and extreme weather. Justice means addressing this imbalance is about ensuring fairness in how resources, responsibilities, and solutions are shared. We must prioritize protecting those at greatest risk while holding major polluters accountable for their actions. Next, responsibility. This principle emphasizes that climate change is a shared burden, but it's not equal. Developed nations and corporations that have historically caused the most harms have a greater obligation to leading reduce emission and funding adaptation efforts. For individuals, responsibilities means recognizing our role in a larger system, whether that's reducing waste, choosing sustainable options, or advocating for systemic change. Third is solidarity. Climate change affects us all regardless of borders, laws, or status. Solidarity calls for unities and collective actions. It's about understanding that while our vulnerabilities may differ, we are all interconnected. By working together, we can create a solution that protects not just a specific group, but the entire planet. Finally, dialogue. One of the most powerful tools we have in communication. Climate actions isn't a one-size-fits-all solution, and different cultures, nations, and communities bring unique perspectives. Inclusive and cross-cultural dialogue allow us to share ideas, respect diverse values, and collaborate on approaches that work for everyone. These principles, justice, responsibility, solidarity, and dialogues remind us that addressing climate change isn't just about reducing carbon emission, it's about building a fairer, more passionate, and united world in the face of this global crisis.
Thank you for your attention. Our study shows that climate change is not just an environmental or economic crisis. It is a profound moral challenge, from personal consumption habits to corporate decisions and government policies. ethical considerations are central. Individuals influence social norms through everyday choices, while corporations must align profits with environmental stewardship. Governments should enact fair regulations that protect vulnerable communities and promote sustainable practices. Cultural and philosophical differences highlight the need for mutual respect and dialogue. Forgiving shared commitments to fairness, respect of life, and intergenerational responsibilities. These values must shape policies, public engagement, and global collaboration. Going forward, interdisciplinary cooperation, uniting moral philosophers with scientists, economics, and policymakers will help us navigate complex technologies and social realities. Through continuous reflection and collective action, we can create just and sustainable solutions that safeguard both humanity and our planet.
Thank you for your time and attention. I look forward to a subsequent question. Thank you.